Nosa push an old man to the ground from the bus. There is always a consequences in any evil actions.
In the city of Benin, there lived a young man everyone feared. His name was Nosa. But nobody called him by his real name anymore. People forgot it long ago. They called him Agbero of Benin. The name alone was enough to make hearts shake. Children ran inside their houses when they heard it. Drivers whispered it like a curse. Passengers prayed silently whenever his bus appeared from far away. People avoided his bus like sickness. They would rather walk under the hot sun than sit near him. At St. Saviour, traders paused their selling when they saw him coming. They bent their heads and whispered among themselves, "Na him again, oh, God save us today." At Third Junction, drivers warned passengers loudly, "If you enter that bus, prepare your mind. No complain, no talk, no question." At Ring Road, even strong men who feared nobody kept quiet. They stood like statues waiting for another bus, pretending they were not in a hurry. At Ikpoba Hill Market, women held their purses tightly to their chests. Some carried their babies closer. Some crossed to the other side of the road. Nobody wanted trouble. Nosa was just a bus conductor, but he behaved like the king of the road. He walked with pride. His chest was always out. His voice was loud like thunder. His eyes were sharp like fire. He believed the world belonged to him. If a passenger asked for change, he would shout, "Are you mad? Keep quiet before I throw you down from this bus." If a young man tried to argue, Nosa would grab his shirt and drag him like a sack of rice. If an old woman complained softly, he would insult her father, her mother, and her ancestors without shame. He had no respect for age. He had no pity for children. He had no fear for anybody. He fought passengers every single day. Broken noses, torn clothes, scratched faces, crying children. That was normal in Nosa's bus. People said his bus was not just transport, it was a battlefield. Some passengers entered with full hope and came down with shame, pain, and tears. Even the police were tired of him. They knew him very well. Whenever they saw him from far away, they would shake their heads slowly. "Nosa again," they would sigh each time they locked him inside the cell. Sometimes he slept there overnight. Sometimes he paid small money and walked out laughing. The next morning, he would return to the road like nothing happened. But Nosa did not care. He believed nothing could touch him. He believed he was untouchable. He believed fear was his shield and violence was his power. He thought the world belonged to the strong, and he was the strongest on the road. Nosa grew up without respect. No respect for elders, no respect for age, no respect for life itself. From small, people noticed it in him. When elders spoke, he looked away. When advice came, he closed his ears. When correction followed, anger answered. People said his heart was harder than stone. Some said it was iron, others said it was already dead. He did not feel pity. He did not feel shame. He only felt hunger and anger. Hunger to survive, anger at the world. His mother tried many times. She spoke with tears in her eyes. She spoke with fear in her voice. One evening, as the sun went down, she held his hand and said, "My son, the road is not bigger than elders. Respect will save you one day." Nosa laughed, a dry, empty laugh. "Mama," he said, "hunger does not respect gray hair. If I respect everybody, who will feed me?" His mother cried quietly. She knew she was losing him. Every morning, Nosa tied his conductor bag tightly. Not like someone going to work, but like a soldier going to war. He stepped out with a hard face and a ready fist. To him, kindness was weakness. Patience was foolishness. Respect was for people who could afford it. He believed only the loud survived. Only the strong ate. Only the wicked lasted. He pushed people aside. He stepped on feelings. He crushed soft hearts without looking back.
That day came quietly. No drum sounded. No warning came. The sun was hot and angry. Sweat covered faces. The road was busy and noisy. The bus was full. People stood shoulder to shoulder, bodies pressed together. Everyone just wanted to reach home. At a bus stop, an old man slowly stood up to alight. He was bent with age. His back shook as he moved. His hands held the seat for support. He was careful, very careful, one step at a time. His legs were weak, his breath was heavy. But Nosa was impatient. He clicked his tongue in anger. His eyes were already red. "Hurry up," he shouted. "Are you sleeping? Do you think this is your house?" Some passengers tried to speak. Others wanted to beg him. Before anyone could talk, before any hand could stop him, Nosa pushed the old man. The push was hard, too hard. The old man lost balance. His stick flew away. His body hit the ground with a heavy sound. People screamed. Women shouted. Children cried. The old man lay on the ground, groaning in pain. He held his waist tightly. His face twisted in pain. He tried to speak, but no sound came out. Someone shouted from the crowd, "You have killed him!" Another person screamed, "Is this how you treat elders?" Nosa laughed, a loud, careless laugh. Then he said words that froze the air, words that entered people's hearts like knives. "Old man, go die for your house, no die for here." People were shocked. Mouths opened, but no words came. The driver started the bus. The door closed. The bus drove off slowly, leaving dust behind. People rushed to the old man at once. Some held his shoulders. Some picked up his walking stick. Some wiped the dust from his face. "Papa, are you okay? Can you stand? Should we call someone?" Slowly, very slowly, the old man stood up. His body shook a little, but he did not cry out. His eyes were deep, very deep, calm yet painful. They were not the eyes of fear. They were not the eyes of anger. They were the eyes of someone who had seen many things and remembered them all. He did not insult Nosa. He did not curse him. He did not shout. He only bent down, dusted his clothes carefully, one hand at a time. He adjusted his cap. He held his stick again. Then he looked in the direction the bus had gone. For a moment, the road was silent. Without a word, the old man turned and walked away quietly. Each step was slow. Each step was heavy. Some people felt cold in their hearts. Some felt afraid but did not know why. A group of elders watched him go. They shook their heads slowly. "This one is not ordinary," one said. Another elder added softly, "Not every silence is weakness." But Nosa had already forgotten. To him, it was just another day, just another passenger, just another trouble left behind. He laughed inside the bus, collecting money, shouting at others, living like nothing had happened. He did not know that some eyes do not forget, and some steps, no matter how slow, are walking towards something. That evening, Nosa returned home. The noise of the road was still in his head. His ears were full of shouting and insults. He washed his face quickly. He sat down to eat. As he ate, he noticed something strange. His fingers felt tight. His palms felt heavy. He looked at his hands. They looked bigger than before. "These hands," he murmured, "they are swollen." He turned them left and right. He pressed them together. Pain moved slowly inside them,
like fire hiding under skin. He thought it was stress. He thought it was anger. He thought it would pass. He ignored it. After eating, he lay down on his thin mattress. Sleep came slowly. The night was quiet, too quiet. Then, before dawn, "Ah!" His scream tore the silence. It shook the street. It woke sleeping houses. People rushed out of their rooms. Doors opened. Voices shouted. "What happened? Who is screaming?" Inside the room, Nosa rolled on the floor in pain. His hands had grown huge, very huge, like mountains attached to his body. The skin was tight and shining. Veins stood out like thick ropes. Pain burned through his body. It moved from his hands to his chest to his head. He cried like a baby. Tears ran freely down his face. He beat the floor with his legs, begging for help. "I am dying," he shouted. "Help me." Neighbors stood at the door, too shocked to move. Some crossed themselves. Some whispered prayers. And in the darkness of that room, fear settled like a shadow. Something had started.
The whole street gathered within minutes. People came out in wrappers. Some came barefoot. Some still held their phones. They formed a circle around Nosa's door. Some people were scared. They stood far away. They whispered to each other. Some were confused. They did not understand what they were seeing. Inside the room, Nosa cried and rolled on the floor. His hands were still huge. They looked painful and heavy. A landlord stepped forward. He was an old man with gray hair. He shook his head slowly and said, "I warned you. Arrogance never ends well." People murmured in agreement. One young man shouted, "Let's take him to hospital." Another person replied quickly, "No, this one is not ordinary. Take him to church." Others suggested prayer houses. Some mentioned herbalists. Confusion filled the air. Then a woman stepped forward from the crowd. She was quiet all along. Her voice was calm but firm. It cut through the noise. "Nosa," she said slowly, "yesterday you pushed down an old man." Everyone gasped. People looked at each other. Some remembered. Some nodded their heads. Another voice whispered, "Yes, I was there." The woman continued, "I think that man laid a curse." Fear entered the air like cold wind. People stepped back. Some covered their mouths. Some held their children close. Nosa's eyes widened. Sweat poured from his face. He began to beg. His voice broke. "Help me, please. I will change. I beg you." His pride melted away. Only fear remained. And the night listened. They put Nosa inside a taxi carefully. It was not easy. His hands were too big. He cried with every movement. The taxi moved slowly into the night. No music played. No one laughed. Street by street, they searched. They asked people questions. They described the old man. Some shook their heads. Some pointed directions. Finally, they found the old man's house. It was small and old. The paint was faded. The gate was open. The old man was sitting outside quietly. He sat on a wooden chair. His walking stick rested beside him. It was as if he was waiting. When he saw them, he did not stand up. He did not look surprised. The air became heavy. Everyone knelt at once. Men, women, young, old. Even Nosa knelt. It took effort. Pain ran through his body. Tears dropped from his eyes. They fell on the ground like rain. "I am sorry," Nosa cried. His voice shook. "I will change. I will respect elders. I will stop fighting people. Please forgive me." He hit the ground with his forehead, again and again. The crowd held their breath. All eyes were on the old man. He lifted his head slowly. The old man looked at him for a long time.
very long. His eyes did not blink. They were steady, deep, and calm. It was as if he could see everything inside Nosa, every lie, every anger, every secret fear. The street was quiet. Even the wind seemed to stop. People held their breath. Some looked at the ground, afraid to meet the old man's eyes. Finally, the old man sighed. It was a soft, long sigh. It carried sadness, patience, and a little hope. "My son," he said gently, "respect is life. Without it, you will never know peace. Without it, the world will always fight you." He raised his hand slowly, carefully, as if touching Nosa from far away. His voice stayed calm but full of power. "I forgive you." Immediately, as if magic had touched him, Nosa's swollen hands began to shrink. The heavy, burning pain vanished. Veins disappeared. Fingers became normal again. It was as if nothing had ever happened. People gasped. Some screamed. Some fell on their knees, crying in shock. "Did you see that? This is not normal," they whispered to each other in awe. Nosa fell forward to the ground. He touched his hands, then his face. Tears ran down freely. He could not speak at first. He could only sob and shake. He looked at the old man, and for the first time he felt something he had never felt before: humility. Fear mixed with awe, a quiet respect. The crowd stayed silent. Even the night seemed to wait. And in that moment, Nosa knew his life would never be the same.
From that day, Nosa changed. Not a little, he changed completely. He stopped fighting on the road. He stopped shouting at passengers. He no longer pushed old men or young boys. He learned to respect elders. He greeted them politely. He helped them onto the bus. He even gave his seat without being asked. He returned people's change. He smiled when he collected money. He no longer kept extra coins. People began to trust him again. He became patient. He became careful. He even helped children who were afraid of his boss. When young conductors misbehaved, when they shouted at passengers or broke the rules, Nosa warned them quietly but firmly. The road hears everything. Every action comes back. Respect life, respect people, or the road will teach you the hard way. Slowly, the streets of Benin began to change too. People no longer feared his boss. They whispered his old name in respect, not fear. Nosa became a different man. People said he had learned the hardest lesson of all, that pride and arrogance could never beat life itself. And from that day, Nosa lived with respect in his heart. The road, the city, and the people remembered him, not as a monster, but as a man who finally understood. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to this channel to watch more of our interesting stories. Like, share, and drop your comments below.